Hey guys, we're going to try and draw like printmakers today. Got two different prints we're going to try and do master study copies of. The Great Wave by Hokusai and the Rhinoceros by Durer. So if you open up your sketchbook, we'll be able to make two drawings, one of each of these pictures. So let's try the Great Wave first. We're going to try and copy the basic shape. So let's look at that. The wave starts on the edge of the paper, goes up, and curves in. So a little past the middle of the paper this way, it curls back over, and then it makes the wave shape. So we get this big wave shape. And so I'm going to draw a line so we can see where my paper is. Here we go. So I'm going to start curving up and then over. So I'm trying to match the shape of the wave. Now, I don't have to try and draw it exactly, because there's too many little tiny lines for me to copy it just right. But I am going to try and get kind of the idea of where the waves go. So I'm just putting a few little curves. Okay, I'm going to make sort of these sort of curved zigzags he has all over for the crashing wave. Alright, and so once we fill this area with those, then we can start curving back in for the bottom of the wave. Alright. Now there are some boats in the picture and some other waves sort of crashing, so I'm going to put this other wave shape right here that kind of goes in front of a boat. So put kind of a little hill here. Now right there, sort of disappearing into the wave, is a boat. And it's got some more crashing wave parts all over. So first I'm going to put more of those crashing zigzags all over this part. Doesn't have to be perfect. It looks more natural when they're kind of all over the place. Okay, and then we'll put the boat that's sort of curving right there. So up. And it kind of peeks out on this side a little bit. So a little bit of a boat over here too. And make it look more like a boat. Put a curve here. And some sort of stripes inside. Alright, in this close-up foreground wave, I'm going to put some more of these zigzags because that kind of makes up the whole repetition in the picture, or these crashing wave curved zigzags. I'm going to put a few like sweeping lines back and forth to kind of just make it look like flowing water. Okay. Now, very important, back here we've got Mount Fuji, kind of the main part of the picture, and I've got another boat. So I'm going to do the boat first because it's in front of Mount Fuji. It just kind of comes from the side, makes a little point, and there's our boat. And it does have a few little detail lines on it, so I'll put a line here. And I'll put some stripes. And I'll put a line there. And I'll just curve. And there, I'll say that's the boat. And in these boats, if you look at the real one, you can actually see little people like hunched over trying to hide from the wave. So I'm just going to put some little curves like their backs. They're hiding. Okay. Now back here in this little section, that's kind of, the wave is encircling it, making a frame sort of, we put Mount Fuji. So we go up, make a little flat top. Mount Fuji is a volcanic mountain. And then down the other side, it does have snow on it, so we put some snowy lines. Alright, now to finish up, I'm going to add a few details. I'm going to add some curves inside the wave. And some splashy sort of little drops of water. Alright, the only thing we didn't draw was the little signature. This is something that the printmakers would do. They'd have a little thing that said like who they were and what the print was. And so that would just be a rectangle over here. You can put that if you want. I'm just going to leave mine as just the wave. Alright, let's do the rhinoceros. Now this is fun because it doesn't really look like a perfectly real rhinoceros, and that was because at the time, you know, you wouldn't have really seen a rhinoceros. He wasn't somewhere where there were rhinoceroses to see, and they didn't have zoos that would have these exotic animals. And so he was just taking information that he knew about rhinoceroses. They have a horn, they look like they're gray and armored, and so he made it look like an animal that's actually covered in armor, which I think is pretty cool. So this is super detailed. We're going to try and just get the basic shapes. This kind of printmaking, the engraving, he was able to get all these tiny little lines by scratching into the metal. We probably won't do that with drawing. So we're just going to get the basic shapes of the rhino here. So to start, his head is sort of a triangle. It's a little lumpy on top, and it's got the horn, but we're going to try and make just that sort of triangle shape. Make sure you leave enough room for the body because it has a big body. But we're going to go over here and make this sort of triangular shape. Maybe a little bumps for the top of the head. Okay. Then it's got the horn on it. And he's got some little ears coming off the top. Now this is just a sketch. I'm going to have lots of stuff that doesn't actually look like the real one. I'm just trying to get the basic shapes. His eye goes around here. And his mouth goes around here. His nose right there. Now, if I wanted to make this look a little more like Durer's, I can look at these kind of crazy lines and shapes he used. So I'm going to kind of go around the horn and make some of these patterns. It doesn't have to look perfect like his. He made it look kind of like he had scales. Then he has some on his head too, sort of these little wiggly lines. Okay, so kind of made similar head. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to copy Durer's style. Okay. Now, we can look at its back and kind of see the shape of the back. Sort of has three sections. If we ignore that little horn, it kind of goes up, flat, down. Little poke there, but still up, flat, down. So we can sort of work that in where we go up, flatten out, go down. And so that's going to be his back, and then we can put in these chunks of where the legs and the body go. So starting up here at the top, it's got this big plate of armor for his leg. So we can make that sort of shape. Okay, so that's the shape, I think. And then we can put the leg on the bottom. Now he gave him kind of weird legs. He didn't know what rhino feet look like, so we'll give him kind of these weird bumpy legs too. There's one. Now if I move down to his belly, he's got this big kind of armored plate that covers his belly. So we'll start here and make a belly. There we go. We've got this little point, boop. So we can just do that. And then we've got the armor plate for this leg. And another weird leg down at the bottom. Okay, so I think we're getting the basic shapes. We want to make this look more like Durer's though, so we can go crazy with the patterns. First I'm going to put some kind of plates over here around his neck. He's got like one there, one there, one down there. So we'll put 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now then we can see his back leg. So I'm going to close this off and put the back leg here. And then same thing, I'm going to finish the belly, because you can see a little bit more belly under this armor plate. And put the back leg over here. And then he's got kind of this crazy tail sticking out the end here. Alright, now to make our plates look a little more like Durer's, we're going to start adding these crazy details. Got this little horn here. Got some plates just on top of each other. Got some little circles for some reason. Here too. This has got ovals and then lots of circles. You don't have to draw all of them, I'm just kind of making a little pattern. Now I like how this belly has kind of this line, stripy look to it. But it goes around. It's not just stripes up and down, it kind of curves with the belly, which is cool. And then inside the stripes has even got more circles. Very cool. Okay, now his legs look like they're completely covered in scales. So you can just put U's that stack on top of each other. And if you do that on each leg, it'll look like it's covered in scales until you get to, it's kind of, he gave him kind of a hoof looking thing. Do it on each foot. He just went crazy with the patterns, so, you know, you can fill this thing up with patterns. Alright, that's pretty great. The last thing you would do is put the hill that he's standing on. Some rocks on the ground, a little shading. And there we have our rhinoceros, like Albert Durer's rhinoceros. Alright guys, you can color these, and good job. I know they're kind of tricky. Bye.